Hello there, Magic Mafia. I am Cheryl, aka the Funny Godmother, and it's been a hot minute. Yeah, so I wanted to post more frequently, but wow, was August busy. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. I am the creator and director of a show, my first show I'm directing, called Cupid on Mute through Unexpected Productions. And it opened on September 4th. And so we're halfway through it at the time I'm speaking this video. And so that took a lot of time because it wasn't just the rehearsals with my cast, but it's this big, ambitious Twitch show with more overlays than you can shake a stick at, and this huge, complicated design. So I want to talk to you about that today. I figured that could be our chat. Let's go on a journey. Today we're going to talk about using interactivity and narrative on Twitch. For the better part of 13 years now, going on 14, I have been a professional improviser and teacher and now director at Unexpected Productions, based in the Pike Place Market. They've been doing improv comedy in Seattle since 1983. And when the pandemic happened, well, we had to close our doors like everyone else. And we immediately hopped online and started doing improv on Twitch, which we affectionately refer to as Zoomprov. Here's some improvisers in front of a camera. Go. But that doesn't really match with Twitch culture. But what is Twitch culture? Like, what even is Twitch? Have you heard of Twitch? Have you used Twitch? Twitch started out as a video game streaming platform. It's not limited to video game streaming, but it started that way. And so a lot of the culture is still revolves around that video game streaming platform situation. And there's this inherent assumption of interactivity that a streamer is going to see their chat, talk to their chat, possibly take donations from their chat in the form of bits or actual dollar donations in exchange for doing actions on the screen. Because if you're watching someone and they're not interacting with them, why would you watch them at low production value on Twitch when you could just go to Netflix or Disney Plus or one of the other networks that's spent way more money making something just so perfect? The reason you watch Twitch is because it's interactive and it's in the moment and it's a shared experience you have with the other people in chat. It's more like watching a sports event than it is watching a Netflix stream, really. Or going to live theater as opposed to going to a movie. That's the Twitch experience. Now, speaking of theater, it's not just limited to games. And so I have had the pleasure of sort of blurring the lines as an actor on Twitch. Starting in 2016, I did a series of live play RPGs on a couple of different networks. One of them was Hyper RPG, and one of them was Geek Space TV. Both of those are Twitch TV networks. And I did these live play RPG shows, which are like 3 hours each episode, and we'd be playing a specific role-playing game. And so we'd be playing within the rules of the game, but we'd be playing the characters, and then we'd come out of those characters to be ourselves at times. The Shadowrun Corporate Sins game that I was in, that ran for 65 episodes, and there's 250 hours of gameplay on YouTube. It's a lot. And, we still have people who go and watch the whole thing, even now that it's not interactive. But during the run, it was super interactive. Really, the chat was super involved. We even had ways that the chat could sort of come together as corporations and send our runners, the main characters, on runs.
So welcome to Shadowrun Corporate Sins, a Shadowrun tabletop game that involves the community. So if you are a subscriber to our channel, you get to directly participate in things that happen during the game. Also, if you would like to directly impact what is happening live, if you donate $10 and put the name of one of our 4 characters who are here or myself, then that person will get a shiny extra dice that they can use for any dice-related purpose within the game, which is pretty cool because dice can do really powerful things in Shadowrun. You'll note the bucket we have on the table.
Because that interactivity is part of what makes Twitch interesting, and it's kind of turns the Twitch experience into a game. And it all started with games, so it all comes together. It all comes full circle. There was one moment in particular that stuck out to me. I was playing a character called Mainframe, and one of the 4 other main characters, Mordecai, we were down in the basement of this theme park, and basically, long story short, in previous episodes it had been implied that Mordecai, spoilers, might have had some affection for my character. And at some point we had to hold hands to like get out of a pit or something.
Mainframe and I take her hand, and the two of us just very gracefully descend to the bottom of the chasm while all of this is going on.
I guarantee that shot just made 100 shippers go crazy. What's that? Nothing. Work for him.
And when we did that, it started this avalanche of donations from the audience. Now, technically, donations isn't the right word because Hyper RPG is not a nonprofit, so tips, but you could pay $10 as an audience member to buy one of us a die. And we could pull from a pool of dice, draw down on that pool to help our rolls in the game. It's Shadowrun, you work with dice pools, and so you could be rolling like 20 dice at once. And so by buying us dice, you were making our characters potentially more powerful at narratively interesting points in the game. So when Mordecai and Mainframe held hands, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of dice started rolling in. Like, my mom was like, who bought you an engagement ring's worth of dice? And that situation and, the whole experience of being on Shadowrun Corporate Sins, to me, my takeaway as a storyteller and as a game designer was that our audiences want to see themselves reflected in the stories. And it makes sense, as an improviser and an actor, I have a platform and talking and you're listening. Not everybody has that. And there's something really compelling about the TV that you're watching talking back to you or changing because you are there and have done something. And for just like $10 to buy a die or something like that, that's a powerful proposition. I realized halfway through the pandemic that all my experience on Twitch as a solo streamer, I stream on Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific, playing games and doing a little bit of puppetry. But my experience as a solo streamer, my experience as an RPG live play player on Twitch gave me more perspective than some of my colleagues in my theater and gave me a leg up on helping us cope with being on Twitch and being inside that unique community. So I took on a role as assistant artistic director of digital productions for Unexpected Productions to help us put together a long-term digital strategy, because we didn't want to just flip the switch back off when the pandemic ended. But to do that, we needed a sustainable program, and sustainable on a couple fronts. We needed welcoming shows, which meant that like our chats needed to have people in them, community managers who could moderate and explain exactly what people were watching when they wandered in. And the other part of sustainable is fundraising. Is we pay our actors, or we try. It's not living wages, but we do try. And we hadn't been paying for virtual shows that whole year. And so we canceled tickets. Twitch is basically a festival performance. You can walk up to anything at any time. So what can we do to sustain the theater and, honor the time that our actors are spending and our crew is spending and our directors are spending while still providing that free show? And so the reason I'm directing this show is because I have this hypothesis that by tying interactive donation incentives deeply to the narrative of the show, we can come up with a structure that is self-sustaining and will generate enough revenue to support the theater while giving people a satisfying interactive experience at the same time, and still allowing anybody to watch without paying if that's the way they want to interact with the show. So that's the big question. Can we create these self-sustaining shows without the traditional model of like using Eventbrite and then you like putting them in a Zoom webinar show? Like, can we create these open lobby shows? That's what the Cupid on Mute is trying to do. So the premise behind Cupid on Mute is that Cupid is terrible at the internet. And so we've created this competition game show so that these 8 romantics can attempt to find love via our group chat, thanks to the help of the audience. You know, at Cupid Enterprises, we were supposed to help people find love digitally, but my boss, Cupid, is terrible at the internet. Oh, you're on mute, Cupid. It's the little microphone button down on the lower left of your screen. Yeah, just get the mouse. Well, no, not with your finger. Just use the mouse and move it over to the microphone. And so they can give traditional improv suggestions via chat, but chat folks can also go to a fundraising platform called Tiltify, which integrates with Twitch. So instead of ticket money, because we can't sell tickets, it's Twitch, it's an open platform. Instead of ticket money, you can choose an incentive level on Tiltify, donate to Unexpected Productions, and like a PBS fundraiser, but instead of getting a tote bag, what you get is the chance to influence the narrative on screen. And so you can say, I want those 2 people to go on a date because I like them, or I want to mute that person because I don't like them and I think they're a terrible character and I don't want them to find love. And that's what you're getting for your donation dollar. And this really leans into Twitch culture and the desire to see your financial support for a streamer influence what's going on screen, and that sort of transactional nature of some of those interactions. Twitch already has the concept of bits, where visitors can basically throw money into a cup, and that money can unlock various activities, like putting a face mask on the streamer or unlocking different sort of activities or hype trains or things like that. This is just taking that to another level and building it into the fabric of our show. And it's been super fun seeing that play out. I was super nervous as a director because I wasn't sure if people would take to it. It's a hypothesis that people would want to play around and would want to donate. But we've already passed our donation goal and we're only 2 episodes into the 4-episode run, so that worked. Yay, thank you to all the generous donors. One thing that's interesting about this whole Tiltify situation is it's not as simple as just putting a whole bunch of rewards up there. You really have to put thought into the dollar amounts and the activities that sort of go with those dollar amounts, because you want the things that you shouldn't happen very frequently in the broadcast to have higher dollar amounts associated with them so that they won't get purchased as much. And you want there to be something that's fairly cheap so that people who don't have a ton of money can still contribute around the price of what a regular ticket to the show would be, so that more people can be included. If you price everything at $100, that's not really a fun, inclusive show. If you price everything at $5, you will never get anything done because it will just be donations all the time. So you need a scale. I draw on my background as a game designer to work out that balance. And each of our weeks, the 4 weeks in the show, the donations are slightly different. There are different options, and the structure is slightly different too. So there are individual sets of decisions I had to make for each of the weeks. But that's okay. I knew what I was getting into. I knew it would be complicated. It's user experience design and game design and acting and directing and it's all of the things at once. But if you haven't watched it, you should. We've got some episodes in the can. You can watch them on YouTube. I'll put some links in the description. And just check out our experiment in interactive theater. Even if you don't watch it live, you can still donate between shows if you're watching before September 25th, which is when the finale is. And even if you're not watching during the interactive period, the shows still exist. They're still fun. And you still get to see the actors deal with that unexpected stimuli in the moment when somebody else makes that donation. You know, it's still funny to go back and watch the episodes of Corporate Sins where we're just inundated with dice because you get to see us as humans dealing with that situation. So the episodes still exist, and those situations you've placed us in still exist long after the show is done. So that's what I've been up to these last few weeks and what has been consuming my attention. There are also the technical elements of running the show. I run it on an app called Streamlabs OBS, which stands for Open Broadcaster Software, which is basically like a free television studio. I mean, the things we get for free nowadays are ridiculous. There are so many, I had so many overlays, and I've got this thing with all these buttons over here that lets me switch scenes. I got audio transitions, and I learned Premiere and was editing video. It's a lot. It has been a lot. So that's why we haven't been talking a lot, but we'll pick it up again. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hearing out a little bit about my experiment.